Hey everyone, how are y'all? Hey Crumb Crazy, hey Scott, Banker Guy, how are you? 9mm, how are you? And Philly Maniac, thank you so much for becoming a member. Hey Stone Gator, hey Moonvale, how are you? Miss Honeypenny, how are you? Hey Michelle, how are you? All right. Hey Werewolf Queen, how are you? Emerald Queen, how are you tonight? Hey Marissa. Crime Crazy, did White Little Baby come back in here? I know she said that, I think she said she'd be back. I don't know if she came back in or not. Uh, Maybe she didn't say she'd be back. Moonville, I'm doing good, thank you. Hey Cherokee Raider, how are you? Hey Judy, how are you? Just Ann, how are you? Yeah, Miss Honeypenny, he's doing okay. He's sore a little bit, but other than that, he's all right. Wait, little baby, how are you? Hey Jan, how are you doing? Hey, the amazing Tiff. Hey, musical, yeah, I'm doing good. Hey JJ, how are you? Thank you, Emerald Queen. Yeah, he's just a little stove up, sore, but other than that, he's all right. Starla, how you doing tonight? Hey, headphones. Jason, how are you? Making sure I caught everybody. Mm. Yeah, Philly Mac, he's doing okay. Sweet Candy, how are you? All right, y'all, let me get into my stuff. I got one thing that I need to go over real quick. Hold on one second. Because I've seen some people that have already started running with it. So I'm going to go ahead and clear it up real quick. Oh, wait, I need my email. So there are some people who are saying that Dylan Mortensen's dad is a guy named Stanley Mortensen, and that he is a DA in Kootenai County. You didn't do it, Judy. Now, I've actually, somebody had left a comment on one of my videos about it. Um, so we dug into it just, to make sure and everything. Um, I'm fixing to bring the guy's picture up. Give me just 1 second. And I believe it was White Widow Baby that I had seen that had responded to some people. Hey, James, how are you? King Scarlet, how are you? Hey, Yorkie Mama. Mar, are you feeling any better? But anyway, I believe it was White Widow Baby that I had seen that had responded to someone on Twitter and told them that this is not her dad. There is also, like, we literally, dug into this guy. He is, um, he's got several kids. There's a picture. Hey, Paula, how are you? There is a picture out there of him and his entire family, all of his kids and everything. And people are trying to say that there's a girl in the back row of the picture that looks like Dylan. It's not Dylan. It's not her dad. Like I said, I'm getting the picture put on my computer now, which I'm slacking today, y'all. But I'm going to pull this guy's picture up so everybody can see it that way. If y'all do happen to see this guy's picture anywhere on social media, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, y'all will know this is not her dad. They may be kin somewhere down the line, but this is not her dad. All right. And it's going to take me a second because it's been raining here all day, and y'all know how my internet works when it's been raining. But I wanted to clear this up. I was actually going to talk about this last night, completely forgot about it, and then I was on Twitter today and seeing where White Widow Baby had responded back to someone, and I was like, yeah, I need to go over it. I mean, just a simple search, Google search of this guy, Stanley Mortensen, and you can get the information, and people would know then that it's not her dad. Okay, give me a second, y'all, because this shit here. Why it's so slow? Oh my gosh. Okay, try this again. Oh God, Kelly M. It is literally, it's out in Texas. They're getting like snow and ice out around Dallas and all that. And I believe Dallas ended up closing their schools down today because of it. I was worried that we were going to get the snow and ice, and we didn't. I think closer to the Texas-Louisiana state line, it kind of starts turning into nothing but rain. So thank God we haven't got none of it. Emerald Queen, I know you're like out between me and Dallas. Did y'all get any snow or ice? Jazz, how are you? Okay, so y'all didn't get it either. I'm glad we didn't, because as soon as it would have started snowing, the damn electric would have went out here. Oh my God, why is this so slow, y'all? All right, let me get this dude's picture pulled up here now so y'all can see it. It's ridiculous. Let's see. Is everyone losing a member because of it? Now, Millimeter, who's losing members? I'm behind in the chat. Is the link not working for her? Angel, how are you? Let's see. Bridges are icing here outside of Dallas. Well, the amazing tip, I didn't realize that you were in Dallas, honey, but if you have to go out, please be careful. All right. Get. Okay, now I got the guy's picture, so I can pull it up and show y'all. Okay. So this is Stanley Mortensen. This is a picture that everyone is, not everyone, but a lot of people on social media are going around saying that is Dylan's dad. It's not Dylan's dad. Hey, Bryan, how are you? No, Bryan, it's not. We actually looked into him. He's got several kids, but it's not her dad. Delene, how are you? And like I said, there is a picture of Stanley with his family. Um, and the picture is like a whole group of them. I think it's like 7 or 8 kids he's got. And oh, Angel, please don't rub it in. Uh, but I think it's like 7 or 8 kids that he has. Some people were thinking that the girl in the back of the picture, like on the back row, was Dylan. It's not her. So I just wanted to put that out there, clear that up so everybody will know. Okay, wait, is the link, wait, what a baby, is the link not working? Like, YouTube just needs to get their stuff together. Like, this is ridiculous. All right, so I got that taken care of. Let's see. Let me get this out of my inbox now. All right. Yeah, that was Milo. He's actually wanting out. Yeah, Bryan. I think it was you that had posted the comment, and that's when I started looking at it, and we got to digging into it, and we figured out it wasn't he's not her dad. All right, so we're gonna get started. What is this? Oh shit! I forgot to download this too to show y'all regarding Bryan Kohberger. You're welcome, Bryan. So, in Crime Crazy, you said Friday, right? On the response to the request for discovery? Or the defendant's response to the request? Didn't you say it would be Friday? That it would be available? Oh my God, why is this taking so long, y'all? Friday, okay. All right, well, I'm fixing to bring it up to show everyone that as well. Okay, Bryan, yeah, I thought it was you. For some reason, I thought I read your comment in an email that you had sent to me, but it was actually a comment that you had left under one of my videos. I don't know why I thought it was an email. But yeah, I had seen it. We looked into it and figured out that, it's not her dad. Okay, 1 second. William, how are you? All right. Yes, Miss Honeypenny, I do have a P.O. box now. If you need it, all you got to do is grab my email address and email me, and then I will send you the post office box. Yes, Brian, it is being super slow tonight because it's been raining all day. And for whatever reason, the internet doesn't like it always acts up whenever it rains. It doesn't want to act right. Okay. See if we can try this again now. All right, and we'll pull this up real quick and show y'all. And this is a Latah County Magistrate Court case summary, and it's for Bryan's case. Angel, thank you, honey, and God bless you as well. And if y'all see down here, Crime Crazy's put it in a red box for us, and it says, I may have to zoom in a little bit. I don't know if y'all can see it. But it says January the 30th, which was earlier today, the response to the request for discovery, and it's going to be the defendant's response to the request for discovery. So it will be available, that document will be available Friday. So as soon as it becomes available, then I will have it, and then we can go over that as well. Okay. Hey, Brooklyn, how are you? Okay, so I just wanted to show y'all that as well real quick while I had it in my email. All right, now Brooklyn, we've been missing you too, honey. How have you been? All right, so this is going to be an article about Bryan. It's from Newsweek, and it's about the DNA. Okay, I gotta stop this video because if not, it's going to slow it down big time. Close this. Hoping for answers. How are you? Bryan, the 995 pages, that is actually what the prosecution has sent over to Bryan's attorney. It's 995 pages worth of documents. There's one, it's either going to be an audio or video, and then there's 1,800 and something photos that has been sent. More than likely, we will never get to see any of the photos. The documents we will probably only get to see once court starts or even hear about it, because it's going to be, everything that they had asked for, that Ann Taylor had asked for in the discovery. So, that's, if there's any statements that Bryan made, anything, if he has a co-defendant, anything that the co-defendant has said, anything as far as like them testing the DNA, any of the subpoenas. There was like several different things that they had sent over in the request for discovery. And then the DA's office ended up sending all of that back, and it ended up amounting to 995 pages worth of documents and over 1,800 pictures. And then the one, it's either audio or video. All right, so this just says why Bryan Kohberger's DNA presents problems for the prosecution. Okay, I'm just trying to keep up with all of my stuff on here. All right, so it says DNA evidence against University of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger amounts to a very strong case, but does not necessarily place him at the scene at the time of the killings, a former federal agent has said. So Kohberger, a criminology PhD student and teaching assistant at Washington State University, was arrested and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. The bodies of Madison, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan were discovered in the rented accommodation in Moscow on the 13th of November. Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania before being extradited to Idaho, where he made an initial appearance in court on January the 5th, when the affidavit detailing what led police to Kohberger was made public. Okay. So Kohberger's former attorney in Pennsylvania, Jason Labar, said that that Kohberger was eager to be exonerated. And I don't know if y'all heard this, and I can't remember if I actually mentioned this, but Jason Labar was doing an interview with somebody, and he said that Bryan Kohberger was actually the one who put that part, like the whole statement that was done while Bryan was still in Pennsylvania. That part of that statement, Bryan helped the attorney write and put out. And one of them, part of that was him saying that he was eager to go back to Idaho to be exonerated. Like that was Bryan's part that he put in there. So I don't remember if I had ever mentioned that or not. Okay. Philly Maniac, I'm sorry to hear that about that happening to you. All right. So it says introducing a discussion on the affidavit on News Nation, anchor Natasha Zoves said that a viewer had brought up that he saw as 5 potential holes in the affidavit that laid out the police's initial case against Kohberger. Hey, Sama, how are you? In the affidavit, Moscow police said that a tan leather knife sheath had been discovered at the scene of the crime close to one of the victims. Police recovered DNA samples from the Kohberger family home in Pennsylvania on December the 27th, 2022, and a subsequent DNA report concluded that a DNA profile obtained from the trash and the DNA profile obtained from the sheath identified a male as not being excluded as the biological father, excuse me, as the suspect profile. The affidavit added that at least 99.9998% of the male population would be expected to be excluded from the possibility of being the suspect's biological father. Zoves said that the viewer had gotten in touch to argue that Kohberger's DNA could have ended up there from someone shaking Bryan's hand and then touching the sheath shortly afterwards. Commenting on this, a guest interviewee and former CIA officer Tracy Walter, which is, the blonde-headed lady that we see a lot on the different, I think she's former FBI and former CIA. We see her a lot on the different videos that I play on here. She responded that although the DNA evidence did put Kohberger at the crime scene, it did not come with a specific timestamp. The DNA is nice to have. It puts him at the scene of the crime, but it doesn't put him at the scene of the crime potentially on that day and around that time, she said. That is the hole that can be poked in the prosecution's case, Wilder continued. Individual pieces of evidence don't exist in a vacuum. Walder, a former FBI special agent, added, and the prosecution team will take all of it when presenting their case. It's the totality of the circumstances, Walter said, referencing the DNA evidence, cell phone data, and the description given by a surviving roommate that were listed in the affidavit. But the prosecution nonetheless has a strong case, she argued. The evidence explained in the affidavit does not place Kohberger in the house on the night of the murders, Duncan Levin, a former federal prosecutor who is now a defense attorney, previously told Newsweek. Laura Uristin, probably not pronouncing that correctly, a criminal defense lawyer who worked on convicted killer Scott Peterson's defense, previously said that the evidence against Kohberger is a circumstantial case after all. However, she qualified that when we bring everything together, yes, it does come across as a pretty strong case. Kohberger appeared in court for a second time on January the 12th, and his preliminary hearing date is set for June 26th. Okay. So, That is one thing that more than likely Ann Taylor is going to poke holes in. Smitten, how are you? I'm pretty sure there's going to be other things that she's going to poke holes in. You know, trying to get him off of this, trying to prove that he didn't do it. There's no way he could have done it. Um, Smitten, I'm doing good, thank you. So let's just hope, y'all, that they have enough evidence and all of it strong enough that he's not going to be able to get out of this. Let's see, Tammy C, how are you? Okay, wait, did anyone see Dr. Thrifty today on another great finding on another truck that may have been around there too? No, Tammy, I didn't see that. Okay, Judy. Okay, 1 second, y'all. Okay. All right, so let me get this off of my screen now. So when this case does go, starts in court, it's going to be very interesting. What all they're going to bring out, what they're going to present and show us, and it's going to be super interesting. And Bryan, a lot of people are saying that they're thinking that there could be some type of involvement like that as well. Okay, so this one I found, and the new airmail uh, article part 2 has came out. It is behind a paywall, but this article does have a few different paragraphs from the article, from the second part of the article. But it also talks about how Bryan, like, they lost him for 14 hours. Hey, MCOS, how are you? They lost him for 14 hours while he was under FBI surveillance. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I need to get rid of this. Okay. All right, Mar, you have a good night, honey. Yeah, Mar, they because whenever he left his apartment on the 13th of December, going him and his dad going back home, uh, they didn't know where he went. Yeah, Jelly Bean, that's the article I got, was Inside Edition. All right, so it says the Idaho murders investigation. Bryan Kohberger vanished for 14 hours while under FBI surveillance. All right, so it says sources and law enforcement would confine with a bristle of embarrassment not long after the car had pulled out of its space in its graduate housing parking lot in Pullman, Washington. They lost it, reports Airmail. So that is part of. Hey Vapor, how are you? That is part of that part 2 article that came out uh, on Airmail today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday it came out. Ray, how are you? Hey, Tree Baby, how are you? All right, so the Idaho murders investigation almost hit a major snag just 2 weeks after authorities classified Bryan Kohberger as a person of interest, according to the new report. On December the 13th, agents with the Federal Bureau of Investigation lost Kohberger, reports Airmail. Hey, Cheryl, how are you? Okay, that is the day that Kohberger headed back home to Pennsylvania from Washington with his father, Michael, who had flown cross country to join his son on another cross country trek, but this time by car. Hey, the CMY family, how are you? So sources and law enforcement would confide with a bristle of embarrassment not long after the car had pulled out of the space in the graduate housing parking lot in Pullman, Washington, that they lost it, reports Airmail. For several alarming hours or more, the authorities are keeping the precise details of the screw-up close to the vest. The chief suspect in a quadruple homicide that has shocked the nation had seemingly vanished. Airmail reports that Michael spoke about the trip with the mechanics who serviced his son's car around the holidays. It is Michael who suggested that the two head off early on in the morning of December the 13th, states the report. Michael allegedly told the mechanics that he assumed the pair would head down I-90, a trip that would have taken approximately 36 hours. But Bryan, according to what his father told People, insisted the northern route across I-90 promised wintry conditions, reports Airmail. Better head away from the weather, even if it added hours or even a day to the trip. So according to Airmail, Kohberger allegedly button-hooked south towards Colorado, where he picked up I-70. That's how he ended up being caught on the plate reader whenever they were looking for him. And that's how they figured out where he was at and all that. All right. So that added an additional 6 or 7 hours to the pair's travel time, according to the route maps. The FBI did not yet have the DNA sample or cell phone records that would ultimately be presented to the judge who signed off on Kohberger's arrest warrant. However, so they needed to keep a watch on Kohberger, reports Airmail. The report did not detail the events that precipitated the FBI losing Kohberger, only the aftermath. A mood of panic rapidly escalated into one of despair. Frantically, they began to search the records of automated license plate readers, or ALPRs, in nearby states. It was an exercise in futility, and nothing, not a single hit, writes Airmail reporter Howard Blum. Police got a big break, however, 14 hours later, reports Blum, when Kohberger's new Washington state plates were captured in Loma, Colorado by a number plate recognition device. Thank you, William. Agents entailed a Kohberger back home to Pennsylvania, reports Airmail, and hit yet another hurdle when law enforcement stopped a PhD student twice for tailgating in a span of 20 minutes in Indiana. Hey, Nina, how are you? It's ridiculous, though, that they called him like they were supposed to be watching this dude, and he literally left his apartment and they didn't even know it, and lost this person for 14 hours. Like, it's ridiculous. So it says the agents were frustrated and they were angry. The possibilities were too dangerous, reads the report. The main problem, shared law enforcement officials with an arm's length familiarity with the FBI surveillance operation, was the watchers' helpless passivity. All they could do was observe from a distance and wonder. 2 weeks later, Kohberger would be arrested and extradited, and in June, he will be formally charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of the 4 University of Idaho students, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Santa Cornodal, and Ethan Chapin. His public defender in Pennsylvania released a statement saying that Mr. Kohberger has been accused of a very serious crimes, but the American justice system cloaks him in a veil of innocence. He should be presumed innocent until proven otherwise, not tried in the court of public opinion. Hey, Gigi, how are you? Members of law enforcement are not able to respond to requests for comment due to a non-dissemination order filed in the case. Okay, so that was the end of it. But yeah, that's ridiculous. FBI is supposed to be watching this guy. He's a person of interest in a quadruple homicide on the 4 kids, and they didn't even know he left his house. Had no idea where he was at. I don't think they were doing a very good job of watching him, honestly. I don't know if they just wasn't taking it serious, if they just didn't have enough people to watch him, or what the problem was, but they didn't do a very good job of it. Carrie, hey, how are you? Uh, Carrie McKenna, how are you? Musical, I don't know. I mean, if you're watching a guy who is a person of interest in a quadruple murder, seems like they would have somebody right there on him 24 hours a day. Okay, not a good enough job to say Jazzy was safe. Exactly. I mean, Xana's sister was there at the school with Bryan. She had no idea this whole time. You know, they should have did something uh, to make sure that they had eyes on him at all times, because he, I'm 100% sure he knew that Xana's sister went to school there. And they just, if you can lose somebody just like that because they literally get in their car and they leave out of their parking spot at their apartments, and they're missing for 14 hours and you have no idea where they went, you just think they completely have vanished. He could have very easily done something to her sister with no problem. Like, they just did not do a very good job of watching him. Wolfpack, how are you? Okay. Hold on one second, y'all. All right. Okay. And I do have a thing that Ethan's mom put out a few hours ago that I want to read to y'all as well. Hold on one second. Oh, Troll has got it like super dark in here for some reason. I can't even see to type. Let's see. I heard that Bethany is from Vegas, and BK has family there. Tree Baby, I have heard that he does have family in Vegas. Let's see, the one that talked about, yes, that was his Tree Baby. Wasn't that his aunt in Vegas that had talked about the pots and pans? I believe. I think they said it was his aunt. All right, let me find. Yes, had cousin die. Okay. And I also have a thing with uh of for Bethany showing that she actually got pulled over and got a ticket in Washington. Teresa, how are you? Did it not put it in here? Hold on, y'all, because I really wanted to read this to y'all. It's sort of like the last one that she put out. Um, If y'all remember when Ethan's mom had put the thing out saying that, they had returned back to school, Hunter and Maisie did. Well, she put out another little thing. It's kind of like an update of how Hunter and Maisie's doing. Um, okay, I told you, but not anyone else. I have 64 friends in common. Yes, I remember you telling me that, Vapor. And didn't you end up talking to one of them? One of them that was uh, kin to him or friends with someone that was kin to him? Simple Butterfly, how are you? Yes, she got a ticket for driving too close, but whose car was she driving? Exactly, Simple Butterfly. Because, you know, she didn't have a car at the college as far as I know. So was it one of the girls' vehicles that she was driving or was it someone else? Okay. All right, it was Brian's cousin then. Okay. Yeah, how has Bethany got so left out of the media mess? Brian, I don't know. I don't know if she just is she lawyered up and that's why she's not talking or what it is. I don't know. Billy Harkins, how are you? Okay, I cannot get the dang thing to work. I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay, one of my daughter's friends I know really well asked him because she didn't believe me when I asked her about him. That's very interesting, though, Vapor. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna have to show it like this because it is not, for whatever reason, it is not wanting to download. So I'm just gonna do it like this. Okay, she didn't believe he was related to PK. That is just crazy though. Like, you know, you find out that you have like all these people in common with you, and you end up talking to his cousin and that is just crazy. All right. Oh damn, that got clear when I zoomed in on it. Okay, so this is what Stacy Chapin put out. But I think y'all should be able to see it okay now. American Princess, how are you? Okay, so like I said, this is kind of an update that she did on Hunter and Maisie. Hey Jerry, how are you? Okay, she sent me the text. She came right out and asked him, and he said, yes, he is my cousin. So he just didn't even deny it then. Did he talk anything else about him to her, Vapor? About like anything about Bryan? Hey True Crime, how are you? Hold on. Hold on just a second. I have to answer something back real quick. Jerry, I'm doing good, thank you. True Crime, I'm doing good, thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna read this real quick. Okay, I thought I saw a note that you weren't going to be on tonight. Oh no, Jerry, that was night before last is when I had put that out on my community page. Okay, so nope, not that she has told me, but he is friends with so many of my friends. I figured I would just show up and ask him about him. Well, Vapor, if you do, can you let me know what he says about him? That would be if, like, just, I don't think we've heard from any other family except for the aunts, and then, his mom, dad, and sister. Like, we really haven't heard nothing from them. A Philly Maniac, thank you so much for gifting the 5 memberships. That was very nice of you. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Vapor. I'm very interested to know what his family has to say about him. Okay. Philly, thank you so much. All right, so let me get through this real quick, y'all. Alien Dog, how are you? Wait, breaking news. Bryan may have an accomplice from Tyler Feller video. Okay. Which video, Alien Dog, are you talking about? Which one of Tyler's videos? I don't believe that he really cares much about him. So he doesn't really care about him in a sense that um, he will just openly talk about him, you think? Like he doesn't really care to hold anything back. He don't care nothing about him. He even though he is family. Double take, how are you? Okay, don't know, but it's a new one. Okay, hold on one second, y'all. All right. Double take, how are you? I believe he would talk about him unless his parents have told him not to. Okay, so Vapor, if you get to talk to the cousin, please let me know if you don't mind. Let's see. And let's see. And more than likely, the whole accomplice thing, it may be from the affidavit where it says the uh, co-defendant or what. It could be something from that. I'll check it out on Tyler's thing tonight or tomorrow. Um, Whenever I get a chance to. Hey Jay, look, how are you? And True Crime, it's a cousin of Bryan Kohberger's that lives in Vegas. Um, I think Vapor is gonna see if he can talk to him. Okay, I think he's just like a year or two older than Bryan. Maybe he'll talk to you. Maybe he'll give some good information on him. Okay, Tyler videos from today. Okay, thank you, Willpack. I'll check it out later on. He is a bartender. So, well, hopefully you'll get to talk to him then, babe, and get some information out of him. Okay, hold on one more second, y'all. All right. Okay. All right. So let me read this real quick, y'all. All right. So, like I said, this is from Ethan's mom. Hey, Jessica Lynn, how are you? All right. So it says we were recently told to look for a victory every day, even if it is the tiniest little victory. It is admittedly challenging some days, but it's excellent advice. Early on, Jim and I agreed that Maisie and Hunter had to return to school. It was one of the many early morning coffee conversations that you have before the kids get up. It all felt tricky at the time, but after 2 months, post November the 13th, it became clear that this was the right decision. We decided to visit them every other weekend at the University of Idaho. The thought was to stay close and connected, but allow the kids space to heal at their own pace. So we've just arrived home from our first college visit since we dropped them off. In true Chapin form, all were welcome and we fed 20 kids a home cooked meal on Thursday night. On Friday, we spent time with Maisie and some of her friends. Over the long weekend, we enjoyed coffee dates, walks, long conversations, and hugs. We spent time remembering Ethan and sharing stories. There were many victories. Our kids are resilient, and that is definitely a challenging time. We're grateful that they have each other at school, fraternity and sorority friends, and other amazing support systems. And it says, see the pics of Hunter's new academic counselor, Paul, but I didn't include the pics. They are each processing this new normal in their own way, and that's okay. Our job as parents is to be there and provide tools and resources as needed. We've compared our family's healing process to the ice wall in the Game of Thrones. If you've watched it, you get it. And if you haven't, the wall is an impenetrable wall of ice about a million miles tall. The start of the grieving process felt like standing at the bottom of the wall with no key to get through the gate and no hope to get up the wall. The rope has been tossed over the wall and we started the treacherous climb, the tedious climb. The healing is day by day, and some days are easier than others. And this morning, the sunrise was beautiful, and we will take that as today's victory. So I just wanted to share that with y'all. Like I said, that was the first um, thing that I had seen her put out since they had talked about dropping Hunter and Maisie off at college. And, she'd also talked about that they both still had the two vehicles tied up with the defense and the set of golf clubs and all that. So hopefully she'll keep putting out, little updates like that and sharing it with us. Oh Lord. All right, so let me get back into my email. Just give me just a second, y'all. Okay, give me just 1 second. All right, I'm trying to move some stuff around in my. I need to put this in my case ones. Okay. Let's see. I read that one. All right. Give me just a second. All right. I'm going to drop the link real quick if anybody wants to come up and just give their thoughts on the whole Bryan Kohberger thing. What was war? How are you? Yeah, my phone keeps going off. All right. And more than likely, the stuff with Tyler that he's talking about, he's just probably, like I said, getting it from that paperwork that Brian's lawyer had requested, where it says like any informant or was it informant or co-defendant or something like that. That is just verbiage that they have to put in there like that. When she requested that she sent out the request for discovery, the code that it's under, they basically just put that code in there verbatim on the request. And that is why it had about, if there was a co-defendant, and all that. And so whenever they responded to the request for discovery, hold on one second, y'all. Okay. Exactly, 9 millimeter. It's just a standard form. It's nothing else. It's basically they put it in there verbatim. Um, there was the word informant in one part of it. I don't remember exactly where it was at, but it's just I don't think there's anything to it. So you're gonna be a long jury day. Okay. So anyway, I don't think it's any more than that. All right. So if anybody, like I said, anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome to give me your thoughts on it. Uh, while I'm grabbing this other thing, because the police, the guy that I was talking about last night, what is he called? The Benjamin Foster dude, the Oregon torture suspect. They're still looking for him. They still haven't called him. Okay. Cheryl, you have a good night, honey. Okay, let me get caught up here real quick. Okay, they did the same thing with informant, like we reserve the right. Yeah, it's just basic wording is all it is. There's nothing. I don't think there's anything else to it, and people are running with it. Okay, this is gonna start playing. Give me a second, y'all. It's gonna start blaring in my headset. Okay. Oh, banker guy, you haven't heard about the Oregon guy? Okay, so I'm gonna run it down real quick for banker guy because he wasn't in here last night. So there's a guy in Oregon. He goes by the name of Benjamin. I can't remember his last name. He's got a funny last name or middle name, but his name is Benjamin Foster, and he's from the Vegas area. And while he was in Vegas several years ago, he ended up holding his girlfriend hostage for like 2 weeks, hurt her real bad and all that. Well, he ended up uh, he went to jail for it. He got like 200 and something days credit for it and ended up spending like right at or a little less than 200 days. Um, he ends up going up to Oregon, and what he's doing is he's using these dating apps to look for victims. There was another lady that he ended up basically beating till she was unconscious. He had her tied up and all that. Well, now they're looking for him. I do have a couple of videos on it that I'm going to play. I do play some last night. I have one or two for tonight, and it's just basically talking about it. There was a lady that was arrested. She's like 60 something years old that's helping him because he's also using these dating apps to look for people to help him avoid the police. All right, so let me get this video real quick, y'all. Get it pulled up. Yeah, banker guy. It's all recent. They actually tried to go in the other day. They went to the woman's house, the 60-something-year-old woman's house, because they knew that he was there. He ended up running from them, and they haven't called him. But she ended up getting arrested. Okay, the membership link isn't working. I'll be renewing my membership. Okay, thank you, Michelle. And I do apologize. I don't know why the link isn't working, but for some reason, there's YouTube. I don't know if they're still doing updates or what, but Hopefully they'll get all of their stuff situated here soon. Thank you, musical. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this for y'all.
Right now, a manhunt is underway in Oregon, and authorities are warning this dangerous fugitive is using dating apps while on the run. Take a look. This man accused of kidnapping and brutally attacking a woman nearly a week ago, and her injuries are so severe she is still in the hospital in critical condition. Correspondent Kelly Beeson is here. Kelly, this is actually not the first time the suspect has done something like this.
Yeah, there's a criminal history here, Nicole. So back in 2019, before moving to Oregon, Foster was arrested for holding his then girlfriend captive inside her Las Vegas apartment for 2 weeks. Now, according to a police report, she suffered several broken ribs and had 2 black eyes, as well as injuries from being bound at the wrists and ankles. Foster was initially charged with 5 felonies and faced decades in prison. But in 2021, he reached a deal with prosecutors that allowed him to plead guilty to lesser charges and was sentenced to 2.5 years behind bars with credit for time served.
An around-the-clock manhunt continues for 36-year-old Benjamin Foster, accused of torturing a woman he held captive in Oregon. While details are sparse, we know she was found on Tuesday, unconscious, bound, and near death in the southwest town of Grants Pass. On Thursday, authorities raided an area 20 minutes to the north, where they found Foster's car and arrested a 68-year-old woman for hindering prosecution. But Foster managed to escape, and police say he's now using dating apps to potentially find people who can help him avoid the police or find new victims.
I'm sure he's got several tactics. You know, he finds something will appeal to the women, he'll pursue that. If there's something else, if that's not working, he probably has plan B or plan C. That basically is to appeal to their sympathies or their desires.
Police are now offering a $2,500 reward for information leading to an arrest and prosecution of a man they call extremely dangerous. He's now charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault in the attack on the Oregon woman. In 2019, before moving to Oregon, Foster held his then girlfriend captive inside her Las Vegas apartment for 2 weeks. The woman told police she was forced to eat lye and choked to the point of unconsciousness, adding that she managed to escape when Foster let her out of his sight during a trip to a grocery store and gas station.
I would have to say that someone that holds somebody, ties them up, and tortures for 2 weeks is sadistic. I mean, there's something there that this person gets some kind of pleasure out of this.
Now, Franks went on to say that if you're using a dating app and the situation seems too good to be true or something doesn't feel right, trust your instincts in your gut. And right now, police in Oregon calling it extremely troubling that Foster was a free man, especially after those crimes in Nevada, Nicole.
Yeah, it was very troubling. And as you said, definitely trust your gut. All right, Kelly, thank you for that. Thank you for watching.
Okay. So like I said, they're still looking for him. So if you're in the Oregon area, be careful because he could be anywhere around there. Okay, Werewolf Queen, what screenshots are you going to email me to show everyone? Oh, about the membership. Okay, I see it. Sounds possessed. I mean, MCOS, he could be. I just know that the dude is dangerous. He has no problem, you know, doing all this bad stuff to women. So, you know, he's using the dating apps to lure his victims and also using it to help find people. And that's what's crazy, to find these women that will help him. Yeah, Miss Honeypenny, he made a woman eat lye and choked her till she was unconscious. Baker guy said he doesn't even date online and he's a dude. It's dangerous whether you're a man or a woman. You know, if you're using those dating apps, it's very dangerous because there's crazy women out there. All right. Okay, so one other thing that I forgot to tell y'all a second ago. Y'all know in the affidavit for Bryan Kohberger, they said that he went down to the Albertsons, I believe it's in Lewiston. Well, there is some people are saying that they have found over by the Albertsons that there is a body shop over there where they will like literally just completely clean out your car. Like they take it apart and they clean it out real good and they make it look like it's new. And some people were thinking, well, what if he took his car there and left it for a few days and got them to completely clean it out? Hold on one second. Okay, all right. I'm just. So I didn't know if anybody had heard that before or not. Yes, and it is. It's called Funk's Body Shop, which is Bethany's last name. And some people were saying that it was that these people who own it are kin to Bethany. Now, I don't know if they are or not. I haven't seen where it's been proven that the people who own the body shop are kin to her or not. But it's very interesting how he went down there, went to that Albertsons, and was right there at the body shop, or he very easily could have went back, because they're not open on Sundays. He could have went back, a day or so afterwards and had his car cleaned. He could have picked up a rental for a couple of days. And yeah, feeling maniac. I mean, the car could have been cleaned multiple times. So I thought that was very interesting too. And it was just weird how it had Bethany's last name. Hey there, Krista. How are you? All right. So they clean police cars as well. Okay. And I'd seen where, oh shit, I can't think of her name. Truth and Transparency had made a call to them, and they, she was asking them all these different questions about it. You have to bring the car, you have to drop it off. I believe she said they don't take credit cards. She was trying to find out if maybe they had his car in a list of cars that they'd done, but he said that he didn't remember that last name, and she tried to see if they could look it up by the VIN number, but they didn't keep up with it like that. So be very interesting to know if police actually went there and asked them, if he brought that car in and had it cleaned. All right, give me a second, y'all. Okay. I'm pretty good. It's my Friday from work. Hope that you're doing. Yes, Krista, I'm doing good. Thank you. Were you think that they're involved in it? In the kids being murdered? All right. So what was war? Why do you think that? I'm curious. Let's see. He may have after initial cleaning, but he did. But I don't see him taking it with blood in it. Yeah, he probably. I see what you're saying, 9mm. He probably cleaned it himself to begin with. And then after that, took it in and had it like thoroughly clean. They only take cash. This detail shop does. They only take cash. They don't keep records. He very easily could have went there and had it done, and they would have maybe had records of it, but then maybe not. But I'm just curious to know if the police went there and checked it out. Okay, I'm seeing if What Was War. Let's see. Okay, so What Was War thinks that the police are involved in the university, but I want to know why they think that. Okay, let's hope that he didn't take it there, and let's hope there is one tiny drop left behind. Sam, that is true. Because like I said, this place, from what I'm hearing, they take and I'm not gonna say they take the car completely apart, but they do a very thorough cleaning on it. Okay, if I was police force, I'd have an animal inside, car clean joints like that. So I bet you he washed his vehicle. He probably did. I mean, I don't think that they had eyes on him 24 hours a day. And clearly we know that once he became a person of interest, they didn't have eyes on him 24 hours a day, or they wouldn't have lost him for 14 hours. Wait, What Was War? Did he ever say why he thinks that? Or did I miss it? No, he hasn't said. I'm curious to know why he thinks that. Just his thoughts on it. But yeah, I would like to know, though, as far as the police, because the police takes the seats out and everything, cleans it. How do we know that he didn't take his car there, drop it off for a couple of days, grabbed a rental car, they deep cleaned it and got rid of God knows what. Oh, Brian Hoffman, that is a good question. Is it true that DM's mom works at the university? No, she doesn't work at University of Idaho. It was another university that her mom works at. I can't remember the name of it, though. I believe it's in Boise. Hey, Sandra, how are you? All right, let me grab the next thing here. Give me a second. Okay, 1 second. Trying to grab my next thing to pull up. And I also looked into the Lindsay Clancy story. We went over it last night. The lady who has been charged with murdering her 2 older kids, and then her youngest child died Friday. I was looking into it today. They still have not added as of yet, or if they have, they haven't put it out yet. They haven't added the 3rd murder charge for the baby. I don't know what they're waiting on, unless they're waiting maybe for the autopsy to come back, or if they're going to wait till she gets out of the hospital, because really there isn't, I don't think, no need to be in a hurry to add the charge to her. Okay, 3 a.m. ritual, satanic police avoided this. Okay, hold on, wait, let me see if they said anything else. Okay. Let's see where they break down this. All right. Let me grab, but I do have a video that I want to play. And we were talking about this last night. They're saying that the mom Hey, Concrete Angel, how are you? They're saying that the mom was suffering from postpartum psychosis. And there's actually a video that came out today. I'm fixing to pull it up here. That News Nation did. And it's a psychiatrist that explains it. So I wanted to play it for y'all. It kind of explains what the postpartum psychosis and all that is. Sama, yes, when I looked at it earlier, it's $900 and something thousand now. So they're almost to the $1 million mark. Okay. Let's see. Kajidu, the one with the mom and the babies. I wish they would put out her condition. Like, is she in stable condition? Is she in critical condition? Like, what do they expect her to make it? Yeah, I wish they would put something out letting everyone know how she's doing. All right, so I'm going to play this for y'all. I thought it was very interesting. Some people know about postpartum depression and some people don't. So maybe this will help explain it for everyone. Hey B, how are you?
Is still with us, talking about how he found forgiveness in the death of his 5 kids, done at the hand of his former wife, Andrea Yates. You may remember that case. Now to understand the clinical side of why this can hold up as a defense to something as horrible as killing your own children, we have Dr. Samantha Meltzer Brody, the chair of the Department of Psychiatry at UNC Chapel Hill and director of the Women's Mood Disorders. Okay, so it's good to have you for the clinical take on this. Rusty was saying, we should have a clinician tell us. Here we are. So what do people need to understand when they are processing the unfathomable, which is a mother killing their own child, as something that could ever be explained, let alone excused, doctor?
Well, it's one of those things. Postpartum psychosis is one of those things that is horrifying with devastating consequences, as we've seen here. And I think the most important thing to realize is that no mother would ever want to go through this. No family would ever want to go through this. And it's really out of their control when they have psychotic thoughts and have a break from reality. And you end up having these kinds of terrible things happen.
So there's this tension among the rest of us, the uninitiated, the people who haven't had to live through it, that we can't get past the bad into pure sickness. Like I know, Rusty, you've said many times over the years, Andrea never acted crazy. I know we don't like that word anymore, but it's still used all the time, that she didn't have these, wildly erratic behaviors that made her seem violent. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I had my own understanding of what psychosis was. If she had claimed to be Jesus or run naked down the street or something like that, I'd be like, hey, there's a problem, But she was just quiet and very, very quiet. And just, I didn't know what was going on inside her head. And unless you hear, a crazy guy on the corner say something crazy, you just assume he's sane, right? And that's how it was with her.
So, doctor, how do you help people understand that you can be sick and you don't have to be bad, that even if it results in taking the life, let alone of the most precious life in your life, your child, that illness can motivate that?
It's a great question. So we know that postpartum depression can affect 1 in 8 women, but postpartum psychosis is thankfully much more rare because it's so devastating. It's 1 to 2 per 1,000. And just as Rusty was describing, it often is very hard to pick it up. So you can have someone that may have depression, anxiety, and at some point there's a break from reality. Often in postpartum psychosis, women have delusional thoughts, but they're very quiet about it. So just as Rusty described, they're often not sharing what they're thinking, so the family doesn't necessarily know. And it's very difficult sometimes. You see a change in functioning, people can get very withdrawn. Their thinking may look strange. They may not be themselves, but you have no idea what else is going on. And because it can happen so suddenly, that's what makes it so potentially difficult to intervene quickly. But I think that we do have to have compassion and see this for what it is. It's a psychiatric illness, a particularly awful one. And I think that it's unbelievably cruel that any mother in a postpartum period would have onset of psychotic symptoms in this way that can lead to both suicide and infanticide.
Listen, I mean, there's absolutely nothing but cruelty and tragedy involved with it, especially when it manifests it this way. And it's so hard for society to get their hands around others being injured, let alone children, and it not being something that deserves punishment. We're in a very slow point of progress in this society, as much as many people are trying to get us to understand mental illness as something more than just crazy, for the use of another word.
Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to News Nation.
Okay. Let's see. That woman's husband reminds me of Andrea. Okay, Millennial, I see what you're saying now. Too many killings. And what was for? Why are you not supposed to be in my chat? And Sam, they're saying that the money is supposed to be for the funeral services, medical bills, his her legal bills, and to help him, the husband and the dad, because he's not going to be able to work for a while. So it's supposed to help with his, bills for the house and stuff like that. But I've also heard that someone has paid for the babies, all the kids' funerals. Wait, we watch all. What was war? Who sent you? Wait, what is he saying? That somebody sent him? Hold on a minute. Okay, we watch all true crime chats. Like, what the hell is he talking about? They monitor all true crime chats. Okay. Seventh row, how are you? All right, so that was a little weird, y'all. But the husband works for Microsoft, so he already has a good job. He thinks he's a spy. But anyway, the dad works for Microsoft. So he already has a good job. And like I said, I have heard someone from the company from Microsoft that the dad works with paid for the kids' funeral expenses. So he doesn't have to pay that out of the money from the GoFundMe. So really all he would have to pay is just the medical bills, and then all of his wife's legal bills that she's going to have, and then just his bills at home. I don't think all that's going to take $1 million. So he's going to have a good bit of that left over, I'm sure. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are standing behind the mom, which, like I said last night, I know that postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis is real. And I'm sure that there are women in here, and I think there was some even in here last night that said that they have, they dealt with it. Requested friend to Las Vegas. Okay, Fern, I'll have to check it later on. I haven't been on there in a few days, but I'll look at it tonight. But there's a lot of people that knew the mom, that's standing behind her. There's a lot of people that I've read that there's a lot of people that a lot of women who has dealt with postpartum depression that is also donating to the GoFundMe, and they're leaving their stories in the comments about them dealing with it. I have also seen where some people were saying that maybe the dad did it to her and the kids. Some are saying, some agree that she did it. We don't know if she has confessed to this, because we don't know what we don't know what state she's in right now. We don't know how she's doing in the hospital. We don't know if she's awake and talking, if she's given a statement while she's in the hospital. We don't know any of that. Okay, the only thing I know is postpartum hormones are downright powerful. Yeah, truth seeker. I mean, and I can't remember, and I'm not going to go back and try to remember who else said it, but I think there was several different females in here last night that said that they had dealt with it. It's very much real. I even said last night, and if anybody in here needs the number, I can Google the number for y'all if y'all need it. If you feel like that you or anyone that is going through that, or possibly going to be going through that, Google the number and call. They have a support system, where you can call and get help with it. Right. The video that I was just playing, that was actually Andrea Yates' former husband that was on there with Cuomo and the psychiatrist. Okay. All right. So I just wanted to show that real quick. Why is this? Oh, this is, hold on. I did this one. Okay. So I just wanted to do that update on that. I know there was some people that was interested in it last night. So I'm fixing to go ahead and move over to the stuff that I have for Alex Murdoch today. Oh, shit. Hold on a second, y'all. Okay. Okay, White Widow baby. Okay, mental health is very real. Yes, please reach out. And I mean, if y'all need any support, just let me know. I'll be happy to look the number up for y'all. Okay. All right, so let me jump over to the Alex Murdoch stuff. Oh my God, why is this so loud? Okay. And I did not get to watch the trial today, so I had to kind of keep up with it through articles and videos today because I haven't had time. Okay, would you divorce her if you were the husband? Probably a lot more, man. Yeah. I mean, if someone would have did that to my kids, yeah, I would. Crane Hill Gal, how are you? All right, I'm grabbing this video. And millennials, that is true. All right, so we're just gonna go. This is like a few hours ago, several hours ago actually, but it's talking about the beginning of the Murdoch trial for the second week and all this and that. And then we're going to go ahead and move into some other stuff. And then I actually have a body cam footage video of one of the rooms on the inside of the Murdoch house that I'm going to show y'all.
Disbarred South Carolina attorney Alex Murdoch. The defense says no father could ever murder his family in such a brutal, gruesome way, though prosecutors allege that Murdoch shot and killed his wife and son to distract from mounting legal and financial troubles. Riley Benson, investigative reporter from our News Nation station in Charleston, South Carolina, joins us live from the courthouse. Good morning, Riley. I know you've been covering the story for months now. There's been a lot of focus on Alec Murdaugh's composure immediately following the murders. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, good morning. Well, Alec Murdoch obviously had an emotional week in court last week. The first week of his murder trial, we saw him breaking down, crying, sobbing at points as the gruesome and graphic details of the murders of his wife and son talked about openly in court. He was also happy to see family members of his in court supporting him. It's the first time we've seen people such as his son Buster, his brothers John Marvin and Randy Murdoch, even his sister in courtrooms. It's the first time we've seen anyone supporting him. So when he sees those family members, he's been very happy, genuinely smiling. But again, as we're hearing details of these two murders, his son Paul, his wife Maggie, he's breaking down, he's sobbing in court, he's very emotional. He's also nodding and bobbing most of the time in court, putting his head down at times. It's been interesting to see. We haven't seen this kind of emotion from Alec Murdoch over the last 18 months through a number of hearings, something we've kind of watched very closely last week.
What was the mood of the jury of the courtroom when that crime scene was shown? I know that only jurors were allowed to see that video because it was so horrific.
Yeah, obviously that's not something that people want to see. They've been very intent. They've been very engaged. They've been watching the evidence as it's been presented so far. The first 2 days of testimony last Thursday and Friday. But again, on Friday, we heard from an expert with SLED, the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. It was a very lengthy testimony, about 5 hours. And points, jury members kind of did look like they weren't fully engaged during that. It was a long testimony as we went through some of the evidence, some of the physical evidence from that crime scene. For the most part, though, these jurors have been very engaged. They've been intently listening to both state prosecutors and the defense and really paying attention to this evidence as it's been presented in court.
In terms of this very well-known prominent family in the community, there's so many people who know about them prior to this scandal. What's the mood right now in town? And are people talking about whether they think he's guilty or not?
Obviously, the mood here in town has been kind of mixed. This is a very small town, Walterboro, South Carolina, with just maybe 5,000 or 6,000 people. So this has actually brought a number of people here to kind of see what has been described as a circus. All the media members who have descended on this small town, all the people who have came here. So people very interested to see the proceedings and the attention it's brought to Walterboro. Other people certainly not excited to have this kind of attention brought to this town. A couple thousand people maybe here in town for this extended period for this trial. Some people, we saw signs outside the courthouse last week saying that Alec Murdoch was guilty and they're asking to have their mind changed. Other people, I'm not so certain that that's how they feel. Obviously this was a well-respected family in this part of South Carolina. So I would say it's definitely kind of a mixed emotions from people who are here at the courthouse in Walterboro.
Real quickly, I know you mentioned his son Buster in the courtroom. Do we think we're going to hear from his son? And will we hear from Alec Murdoch himself?
Well, there's been talk about Buster testifying. He's obviously one of the 255 people on the witness list in this case. It's something that could happen. Obviously there's been some question about Buster and a number of these witnesses being allowed to be in the courtroom during the testimony. But again, Buster is on the list to testify. It's something that it could happen in probably the latter half of the later half of this trial. As far as Alec Murdoch taking the stand himself, that's something that, attorneys here have said they wouldn't recommend having Alec get on the stand to testify in his case. It's something that could happen, though. I mean, we've seen a connected case. Russell Lafitte, a disgraced banker who helped Alec Murdoch allegedly with some of these financial crimes, he took the stand in his federal trial. So it's something that's certainly not out of the question for Alec Murdoch to take the stand in this trial, maybe towards the end.
All right, Riley Benson for us. Thank you so much for all of your reporting. Thank you for watching.
Okay, so that's very interesting. I don't understand why, if he is on the list, I've got the whole list of all the witnesses, but it's weird how they're letting his son Buster stay in there if he's going to be on the stand. Actually, him and both of Alec Murdoch's brothers is also on the witness list. Okay, it was already. See, land was already being subdivided and sold after this, maybe even before. I'm not positive. America First, you're talking about the Murdoch land? Let's see, maybe Buster was the second shooter. I don't know. I've thought about that a lot more, man. If that could be a possibility, and maybe his dad is just covering for him. All right, let me jump over to Twitter real quick. I'm going to show y'all this body cam footage. Okay, in the jail convoy, all he seems to worry about is his money and telling his son to have his wife send money to an inmate that doesn't use. Hold on, wait. My chat's jumping. Hold on, I'm trying to read Fern's. Okay, so in the jail convo, all he seems to worry about is money and telling his son to have his wife send money to an inmate that doesn't use. You can have that money. Wait, Fern, you're talking about Alex's son? I don't think his son is married, is he? I haven't seen anywhere where Buster is married. All right, let me. I gotta find. Yes, here it is right here. And Bryan Itten actually put it out. So I'm gonna drop his Twitter in the chat. If y'all have Twitter and y'all are not following him, then please go do so. Sweet Melissa, how are you? Let's see. Jerry, that's what I was trying to find out if she was talking about Buster's wife, but I have not heard that Buster is married. All right, so there's Bryan Itten's Twitter. Like I said, if y'all have Twitter and y'all are not following him, you really should. He posts a lot of really good stuff. Okay, maybe it's his girlfriend, Alex, and son are on a podcast talking. Oh, okay. Yeah, it may be his girlfriend. But I still think it's weird, though, that they're allowing him to be in the courtroom when he's going to be testifying. All right, so Bryan Itten put out, and this was 7 hours ago, the court released a body cam video from the day after Paul and Maggie Murdoch were murdered. And you can see the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, which is also SLED, special agents on the Murdoch property looking for shell casings and weapons. And yes, also, if y'all do have Twitter and y'all were not following me on there, please make sure to do that as well. All right, so let me go ahead and get this playing. Let me cut it up where y'all can hear it. Is Alex allowed to talk to? I would think. I mean, I don't know about now since the thing has started, but I know that he was in the beginning because there was several other phone calls between the two of them that had been released. One of them, I remember, Alec was talking to him and was asking him about if he went and gambled. And Buster said, yeah, he had went and gambled, and people were criticizing him, saying that he was spending the money wrong and all this and that. And Alec was like, oh, I can't, you got to be kidding me. I can't believe that, and all this and that. So I don't know if they're still allowed to talk now that court started or not. But I know before they were. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this. If y'all can't hear this video, just let me know. And there may not be any sound to it. So as long as there's no sound to it, I'm not going to mute out. And it does show in this room, there's like a lot of guns in here. And they're looking at one of the guns on the pool table. Oh shit, that was loud. Okay, while it's got sound, I'm going to mute out.
Collect them. I saw one over here. There's two right there.
Okay, yes, he actually spent
We'll get a dynamic. All right, go ahead and pick that one up. There's two right there.
Yep.
They've been there a little while. Could be 300. There's one to your right.
Yeah, 300. Yep.
Yeah. And it was, I think there's 5 total I saw. Right here. I could have been wrong. I was just trying to discreetly just here to go. The orientation.
5. Yeah. 05.
You need to bag them separately. Don't rope them together too much.
Yeah.
Keep from scarring them.
Yep.
See if we can get one in each finger of this glove. It's a new glove.
There's 2. There's 3. Fred, you didn't hold.
I'm hot
4.
out here. I'm sweating.
I don't know. And 5. Okay.
22 long rifle. All right. Tie's all crooked.
So when autopsy is over, the funeral home, whoever
How you doing, sir?
decides to do, they will bring bring Paul and Miss Maggie back home, and then from there you can you pay for your arrangements as far as funerals and different things. On y'all's timeline, not ours.
What's typical of the autopsy time?
So I'm not sure if it is scheduled for today. My guess. Do you know, Jeff, on the autopsy?
Not yet, I don't.
My guess.
I can find out and let you know. I'll step outside and call and see if they've already made.
Find out.
Yes, sir, in USC.
Yep, I'll step outside.
So I would imagine,
About a half hour ago, they have not started it yet, is what Rich Harvey, coroner, told me.
okay, so that means they are in the process of doing it. They're already there. So, and they will come back home to y'all tonight. So then from there, you can,
Some of the tests take longer as far as any kind of toxicology or gun stuff, anything like that,
I don't
that they
mean to
may.
be insensitive, but because there are two people, it will take a little bit longer. But they will be able to return. They will be able to return the bodies to that, or to the funeral home. But there are other tests, toxicology, tissue samples, results like that, that will take at least a month. But that will not affect
No.
you making funeral arrangements at all.
Once
That's
they
why
get the
they take
sample,
it and return it.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
and they're done.
Yes, sir.
So we tell give it a couple of days.
I'm gonna step out and call and see if the
So do you have an idea what funeral home you want to use? So you can go ahead and call Gordon and say, hey, this is.
All right, cool.
Okay. So if y'all remember, Alec was talking about he had all those guns. What was it, like 25 or 30? In the other interview, excuse me, there was all the guns that he was talking about. Lawnmower Man, I don't know. They're saying that they can't find it. White Widow Baby, you talking about the Emily D. Baker one? Is that the one you're talking about? She's actually an attorney, I believe, from Los Angeles. And yeah, it's called Emily D. Baker is the name of her channel. But she's really good. I watched her. I think it was this first or second day that they were seating the jury. And she is very thorough in explaining everything that's going on. Like I said, she's from the Los Angeles area, I believe is where she said. Used to be a prosecutor there. I don't know if she still practices law or if she's done retired, but she's really good. And I really like her channel. Thank you, Crime Crazy. All right, let me grab this next one. All right, I'm going to read an article real quick. Let me see if I can find it. Because there was a thing that was played. I think this is it right here. There was an audio that was played today in court. And, is this it? Hold on. Give me just 1 second. No, this is not it. Let me find it real quick. Well, they're talking about that Alec says, what did I do with it? He says something to the effect of when he's talking about Paul, he was done bad. I did him bad. Some people, and there's a lady on Twitter. I just got to find the article. Okay, this is not it. She is saying that she listened to it over and over and over. And it sounds to her like he's saying they did him bad instead of I did him bad. I just got to find the article. So it's going to take me just a second because I do have it in my in my email. Let's see, I looked into the cult Trinity's mom was in and sent you an email with the. Okay, thank you, Marissa. Okay. All right, the Rockaways, how are you? Ray, some people are saying and some are saying they hear him say "ah." It's very hard to tell which one. But I'm fixing to pull it up here. I just got to find the article. Okay, all of these videos that they put in these. Shit. Hold on a second, y'all. Got it here somewhere. I have so much stuff in my inbox, and I can't see my thing right now. So let's see if this is it. Okay. Let me just go to this one, because I know this one's got the video from Twitter in it. Okay. He could watch the GSR off if he had time to change and he had time to wash up. If he is a lawyer, so you would think he would know this. Yeah. Okay, this is going to be it right here. Yeah, and they were saying about there was a raincoat that he took to his mama's house, and the inside of the raincoat had gunshot residue or GSR on it, on the inside of it. Some people are thinking that he went and cleaned up and changed clothes, and you know, that was the clothes that he had on that we seen when he was in the vehicle that night. And they did the interview the night that they had been murdered. Queen of Hearts, how are you? Maybe they should have swabbed his nose. I wonder if they do that. Okay. All right, so this just says, through sobs, did Alex Murdaugh say he killed his son? And there is Buster sitting beside of his uncle again. All right, so it's in Colleton County, South Carolina, and it says the former lawyer accused of murdering his own wife and son returned to the courtroom as the state continued to present its case against him Monday. Alex Murdaugh is facing life in prison without parole if convicted of the crimes at hand, and the day started with defense lawyers cross-examining witnesses for the state. Most of Monday's testimony centered around SLED agent John Croft in the interviews and investigation he conducted on June the 10th of 2021. One of the interviews between Croft and Murdoch is raising some questions, and this is where it says, "I did him so bad." And like I said, and I'm going to play it here in a minute. This is the tweet that one of the news anchors put out and said, "I've listened to it several times. I go back and forth on it, on if he said I or they. Take a listen and let me know what you think." And I'm going to play that video as soon as I'm done reading the rest of the article. All right, so it says, that's what a South Carolina investigator on Monday testified that Alex Murdaugh had uttered between sobbing during a recording interview 3 days after Murdoch's wife and son were killed. But to others inside and outside of the courtroom, it sounded like Murdoch said they did him so bad. On the audio from a police interview that was played at the disgraced attorney's double murder trial after he was asked about a picture of his son's body. Court ended Monday before the defense could cross-examine the agent. Earlier in the day, defense attorneys continued to question the way the state authorities collected and analyzed evidence in the shooting deaths of the Murdoch's wife and son. Murdoch, 54, is standing trial on 2 counts of murder in the shooting of his wife and their son in their Colleton County home in Hunting Lodge on June the 7th of 2021. His wife, Maggie, 52, was shot several times with a rifle. Their son, Paul, 22, was shot twice with a shotgun near the kennels on the property. Murdoch faces 30 years to life in prison if convicted. Honey, how are you? And Speculation, how are you? All right, so it says in the interview played Monday, Murdoch spoke to the state agent at his brother's house for about an hour. 3 days after the killings, Murdoch's lawyer was close by. Prosecutors paused the video several times to give State Law Enforcement Division Senior Agent, Special Agent Jeff Croft, a chance to emphasize some of Murdoch's comments. At one time, Murdoch said that his wife was home hours before the killing. Then he and his son returned from riding around the property. Later in the interview, Murdoch could be heard saying, "It's just so bad," before the unclear statement that Croft said sounded like Murdoch was implying that he had killed his son. After mentioning a small disagreement he had with his wife over visiting her family, Murdoch broke into sobbing during the 2021 interview. "She was a wonderful girl and a wonderful wife, and she was a great mother," Murdoch said. Monday started with cross-examination of another state agent who testified at length about evidence collected from the Murdoch home and property. Similarly to the previous days of testimony, officers and crime scene technicians presented evidence to the jury that investigators would likely later explain in more detail. Prosecutors described their case as a puzzle in last week's opening statement. While cross-examining witnesses, though, defense attorneys have asked questions suggesting that the metaphorical puzzle pieces either aren't clear or prosecutors aren't putting them all on the table. State Law Enforcement Division Special Agent Melinda Worley testified Friday, and that's the lady, if y'all watched it, she was the one that she cut open and opened up the evidence bags and was looking in it. We'll have a good night. And was looking at and explaining what all of it was. All right, so she testified Friday about photographs of the bodies, shotgun pellets, and DNA swabs from the scene, as well as clothes and fingernail clippings from the autopsies. In Monday's cross-examination, defense attorney Dick Harpootlian honed in on several items, including identifying footprints, one of Worley's specialties. She told him that one of the footprints in blood near where Murdoch's son was shot came from a deputy. "Is that the preservation of the scene that your standards require?" he asked. She said, "Not exactly, no." Harpootlian also asked Worley, had Worley come off the stand and work a rough diagram of the angles of the shots fired at Paul and Maggie Murdoch, pointing out a specific disparity between the directions the shots at each victim came from. Worley said that it could happen when a shooter is moving. Let's see. Queen of Hearts said, "I think they will let him walk if you slow it down, just saying." Slowed it down, and I could hear him quite saying they. I listened to it. I'm going to let y'all listen to it here in a minute. It's very hard to tell. Hey, Evie, how are you? Okay, one explanation would be movement. One explanation would be two shooters, Harpootlian said. Alex Murdoch continued to rock and dab his eyes during the most graphic testimony, including when Harpootlian showed a photo of his wife's body to ask Worley if there could have been a shoe print on his wife's calves that was not formally documented at the scene as the scene was examined. Okay, Worley said that she couldn't be certain. Croft was one of the chief agents investigating the double killings and also testified about guns, ammunition, and fired casings gathered from the Murdoch home after the killings, showing at least 4 different shotguns and rifles to the jury, and testifying that the Murdochs kept the weapons loaded in their gun room. So that was just their gun room that was on that body cam footage a minute ago with the pool table and all the guns. That I thought maybe it was just, like a game room, but they're calling it their gun room. In his interview, Murdoch told Croft that his son was unfocused and would stay with family and friends across the state, leaving his possessions behind instead of bringing them home. "He did that with his clothes, he did it with his guns, and he did it with my boats," Murdoch said. Prosecutors in their opening statement said that the guns that killed Paul and Maggie Murdoch have not been found, but markings on casings found around the home that may have been used for target practice match casings found at the scene. Alec Murdoch also faces about 100 charges related to accusations of money laundering, stealing millions from clients in the family law firm, tax evasion, and trying to get a man to fatally shoot him so his surviving son could collect a $10 million life insurance policy. He was being held in jail without bond on those counts before he was charged with murder. And since the killings, Murdoch's life has seen systemically fast downfall. His family dominated the legal system in the tiny neighboring Hampton County for generations, both as prosecutors and private attorneys, and known for getting life-changing settlements for accidents and negligent cases. All right. So I'm going to go back up here. Okay, hold on 1 second before I play this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to play this, and I want y'all, it's only just a few minutes, or not a few minutes, I'm sorry, a few seconds long. So I want y'all to listen close, and if I need to, I can play it over a few times for y'all, and just see if y'all can tell if he says, I did him so bad, or they did him so bad.
It was just so bad. They did it so bad. You asked the defendant about a traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
And if you watch Alec at the end of the video there, he mumbles what they're saying, or what it looked like to some people that he was saying, as that he didn't say that. Okay, put a 1 in the chat if y'all want me to replay it. It's like a clown trying to hang his case on the sign. Okay. All right, so let me play it one more time. And I was trying to make sure that I did have the volume all the way up. I believe I do. All right, so I'm fixing to play it again for y'all.
It was just so bad. They did it so bad. You asked the defendant about a traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I honestly can't tell if he's saying I or they. I'm going to have to grab some earbuds and listen to it. Because just listening to it like this, it does sound like he says I. But then it makes sense if he said they. And then, like I said, at the end of it, he mumbles that he didn't say that. And his attorneys didn't object to it either. Hey, Woody, how are you? And Jen, how are you? B, it's very hard to tell. Like, I don't want to say, you know, I or they, because I can't tell it. And I'm like you, I can hear both of it. His guilt or innocence will be decided on the evidence, not on the word in the video. Stone Gator, no, that's as slow as I can do it. I don't have a way to slow this down, but I can play it again if y'all need me to. And Tina Marie, how are you? Okay, I'm going to play it one more time for y'all.
It was just so bad. They did it so bad. You asked the defendant about a traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, speculation said it was just so bad. They did him so bad. So she's here and they. I can't say either way. I am Southern and I hear I can hear both of them. I'm gonna have to do it when I don't have anything else to do. Yes, Lawnmower Man, I can play it again for you. All right, so 1 second. And I wish I had a way to slow it down, but I don't. Okay.
It's just so bad. They did it so bad. You asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Lawnmower Man says let's do a poll. So if y'all hear I in the video, put a 1. If you hear they, put a 2. Because honestly, I can hear both, but it could be my headset that I have. I need to listen to it with earbuds. Okay, so 1 if you think he said I, 2 if you think he said they. Hippie Soul, how are you? James Warren just put 3 because he's not sure. Jerry put 3. It's so hard to tell. I mean, honestly, I would have to put 3 also because I can hear both. Okay, Jen says she's got Bose sound counseling headphones on. Jen, what does it sound like to you? Let me go back up where you voted. If I can find your okay, so Jen put a 1, so she hears I. Hey, Keister Bunny, how are you? Okay, Keister Bunny says she's listening on Bose noise canceling headphones, and he says they, in her opinion. Hippie, so we're doing good, thank you. I'm just gonna have to grab some earbuds and listen to it. I can't make out which one, and I can't tell with these headsets. Crime Crazy, no, I think they said that the defense didn't get a chance to cross-examine him today, so I'm sure they'll do that tomorrow. Okay, so Troll's saying he put the earbuds in and he can hear I. No A in the sound I. It's so hard because when it starts off saying the word, it sounds like it's saying I, but then it sounds like they as well. And this the news lady who tweeted it, she said, I've listened to it several times and I go back and forth on if he says I or they. Take a listen, let me know what you think. Okay, wait, what up, baby? Okay, I lay the phone down to speaker. I hear I. Okay. So we'll find out tomorrow whether the difference, whether the defense has a problem with it. Yeah, I mean, Alec, I read another thing that they think he mumbles at the table to his attorney that I didn't say that. And then the attorney didn't object to it. So maybe tomorrow whenever they cross-examine, then we'll have to see what they say. His lawyer should have objected to the prosecutor leading the detective. And I mean, the FBI, I mean, they are not FBI, SLED should have experts who are able to listen to that and analyze it and be able to tell for sure which one it is that he's saying. Let me see if I can find, I don't know if it has, I don't know, Jen, I'll have to go back and see if I can find the original one. Did he say that in the car? A Lawnmower Man, I don't know where he was at when he did this. When he did that interview. Okay, so Troll says well, I'm gonna have to listen to it with the earbuds. I'm gonna have to get my pair of earbuds out, and me and Troll just may have to sit down and have a chat on which one of us is right. Because honestly, I can't tell, and I think it could be just because I have this headset on, and I do better with earbuds. So let's see. Honestly, I've been following the case, and since the beginning, he is too manipulative to give himself away like that. I think he's very manipulative. He's very narcissistic. Okay, Marissa said she thought it was I until she slowed it down. So Marissa, you think he's saying they? Wait, who are we called? Oh, the court reporter. Okay, let me catch back up here. The car video at the location was trying to find that video. Okay, so I know the car video, unless there was another one that I haven't seen. The one that I played the other night of them sitting in the car is Alec, the two officers, and then his attorney. That was done on the night that the murders happened. And Jerry, he very easily could have slipped up. Give me just a second. I'm just trying to catch up real quick. I was about to read your comment, honey, and then you took it away. But yeah, that's very interesting. I was curious to know what everybody, and it's kind of about 50-50 with a few thinking, they're not sure. Let's see, they should have been a speculation objection. Stricken from the record is subjective, confidentiality. I mean, I wonder why his attorneys didn't object to it. So maybe we'll get to see tomorrow in court, maybe, what happens. I'm curious to know if it was an I or a they. Yeah, Emery, I can play it again for you. Hold on one second. Let me get over to it. Okay, I wish we could have heard this without the testimony. I believe testimony biased everyone that heard. Ray, that could be it. If they would have just played just that one little part and then let everybody kind of decide. Okay, so wait, little baby, you sent it in a slower form? Wait, I don't have an email from you. Oh, wait, yes, I do. It says I can't preview the file. What the heck? Let me see if I can download it. Yeah, it won't even let me download it. Oh, wait, is it going to let me download it? Let's see, hold on. 9mm says noise canceling earbuds this time. Okay, I'm going to play it on this other one real quick while this audio is doing whatever it's going to do.
It's just so bad. I did it so bad. You asked the defendant about the traumatic picture that he saw of Paul and Maggie. What did he say?
It's just so bad. I did him so bad.
I did him so bad.
Yes, sir.
me see something here. Okay, so y'all still here. All right, hold on just a second. All right. Okay, Fern, you heard I with the earbuds? Oh, maybe that's what he says. Okay, the defense needs it. I don't know, maybe. What's up with the defense? I don't understand why they wouldn't. If he's sitting there saying he didn't say it, and there's an issue with if it's I or they, then I don't know. I don't know why they didn't. Okay. All right. What little baby? Did you send it? Let's see if it'll let me download this one. Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna try to get this because she did slow it down, and see if it'll let me. Okay, I've got it. I'm gonna see if it'll allow me to. Holy hell, I did the wrong one. Give me a second, y'all. Okay. Here's the weird thing. When I don't focus, close my eyes and listen, I hear they. But when I'm looking at him in the courtroom, I hear, honey, anytime that I've ever needed to listen to something and like super concentrate on it, I always sit there and close my eyes. And I've even did that with this audio, and I still can't tell if it's I or they. So hopefully tomorrow, they'll come out and whatever the defense is going to do. Like, are they going to listen to it again and try to prove that it's one way or another? Wait, where's my downloads? Okay, I'm going to try to play this slow if it will let me. That's just not going to do it. Shit. All right. 1 second, y'all. The cop just slide on the stand. That's not what he said. In my opinion, only, of course. I mean, he very well could have said, they. I don't know. Like I said, it's hard for me to tell. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Okay, I can hear it on here what White Widow Baby sent me, but I'm gonna have to cut this up. And oh damn, it's all the way up and I can barely hear it. But hold on 1 second. I'm gonna maybe y'all can hear it. Okay. All right, and she slowed it down super, super slow. So y'all may have to turn y'all's volumes up to be able to hear it. Hey, Aura, how are you? Okay, so here we go. I lost my brother today. Oh, Zara, honey, I'm so sorry. Y'all keep Zara and her family in your prayers, please. She said that she lost her brother today. And Zara, I'm very sorry. All right, so I'm gonna play this real quick. Like I said, it turned in from like just a few second video. White Widow Baby slowed it down enough to it's like 21 seconds long now. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it and see if y'all can see what y'all think. Y'all, I still can't tell. White Widow Baby, what does it sound like to you? Hold on, I'm gonna have to back it up. I hear okay. So y'all couldn't hear it? What the hell? All right, give me a second. Let me try it again. I thought I had this issue fixed, where this would play where y'all could hear the audio. Because remember before, when I would use this, it wouldn't. You couldn't hear the audio. And like I said, you have to cut your volume up. I've had to cut mine all the way up. Okay, so when I listened to it before, I still hear okay. See, Penny said she drove through Colleton County on the way home to South Carolina yesterday. Thought of this case. Okay, see if y'all can hear at this top. If not, I'll just have to use the audio, the other one that I was using. Were y'all able to hear it that time? Nothing? Oh, what the hell? I'm gonna have to figure out why this is not playing where y'all can hear it. I don't know why this one's not working. Okay, White Widow Baby, we'll have to figure it out a different way for them to hear your slow version of it. I don't know why that's not playing where y'all can hear it. Oh shit, that's not what I wanted. Okay, First Coast News. I believe that's what I was on a minute ago. Hold on. Was this First Coast News? No, I didn't have First Coast News. Okay, so hold on one second. I'll go to it. Okay, 1 second, y'all. Oh, this irritates the hell out of me because Y'all can't hear it. Okay, so I'm on the First Coast News Twitter. That's the only thing that came up for it. Let me see if it's on here. No, it's not on their Twitter either. I don't know. I'll just have to play it from the Twitter one that I had a few minutes ago. See, on YouTube, the title of the video is Alec Murdoch appears to say, all right, so let's see. They obviously made the decision to use this, and regardless of what they felt, he said, they knew they could lead the jury in the direction they wanted. A paper that makes sense. I don't know. His attorney should have done something about it, honestly. Because you can't tell. You can't tell either way. And I'm not saying that he didn't do the murders, but it's just the fact that you can't tell what it's saying. Okay, the horrific thing is he was still standing and walked after the first shot. That's why their son's bloody footprint was at the scene. Yeah, and how they explain the condition Paul was in is very graphic and very sad. All right, so I'm going to pull up the original one that I was playing a second ago, and if anybody needs me to play it again, I can. I cannot slow it down because it's a Twitter. It's a video on Twitter. Okay, why is this not letting me play? Okay. Speculation. I think he was after he arrived back home. Because they said that he was out of town when it happened, and then he ended up showing up when Alec was in the car doing the they were questioning him. He gets a phone call, and they said that whoever it was that had called him was telling him that Buster was back home. Hey, Michelle, how are you? Okay, I clearly hear him say they. If you think about his accent, I would have been shorter, obviously. It's crazy because I can hear both of it. Like, it almost sounds like he's saying I in the beginning of when he starts to say the word, and then it sounds like it goes to they. Can't know about how psychosis affect the human body. It's bad. Those wounds can be very large and devastating. Honey, yes, that is true. Because the pellets from a shotgun shell, when you shoot them, they spread. Okay, I need to know the context. Was he talking about, because it seemed like he was discussing turning over his son's body or something. I wish they would have played more of the video, also, well, more of the audio, but he was doing an interview, and let me see if it gives any more context of what they were. It just says below the video, and the stunning audio just played for the jury. Alex Murdoch is heard in an interrogation with SLED, referencing the shooting of Paul Murdoch, saying it was just so bad. I did him so bad. Prosecutor stopped the tape. Had investigator Jeff Croft confirm that's what he said. And why is my shit froze up? Hold on. And it was just it was a recorded audio 3 days after, or a recorded interview 3 days after they were murdered. So I'm sure whatever at that time, I don't think it's ever been said what exactly he was speaking about at that time. Okay, the speculation, that's what I was thinking. Like, SLED would have some type of analysts listening to it and going over it and doing whatever it is that they need to do to verify which word that it was that was said. Okay, I believe that's a lie. He definitely, in my opinion, didn't check their pulses. But yeah, I don't think he did either, honestly. I think there was too much blood. I think that if he would have checked the pulses, he would have actually had to have moved both of them. I mean, well, I don't know where Maggie's hands were at. I think our hands were out from under her, but Paul's hands were under him. And he was shot in the left shoulder, and it went through his neck on the left side. So the only side of the neck he would have been able to check a pulse for would have been the right side or the wrist. Okay, off subject, but did you see the video and pictures I sent you this morning? Freaking snowing. Oh, no, Vapor, I didn't see them. I haven't even been on there today, but I will check them out, though. Thank you. Okay, the eyes drawn out to a long, like a... It's so hard, y'all. It's so hard. But hopefully they will figure something out with it tomorrow in court. You sent me an email last night. Hold on. 1 second, speculation. Let me check real quick. Because sometimes people will send me emails and I don't get them. Okay, Fern, I got yours. Oh, yes, speculation. I did get it. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, though. But I did get it. Okay. Okay, if you move the person with an injury, you would have evidence on you. I mean, there would... The wounds that they had... it seems like he would have had blood somewhere on his body. Like, he would have had it hands... because I'm sure there would have been blood all over Paul, at least. Pretty sure Maggie too, but for sure Paul. He would have had to have stepped in blood. It would have gotten on his clothes. They said that it was raining, so if it's raining hard enough and there's blood all over the ground, it's gonna splatter up from the ground and from the rain. And there was no blood on his shoes, there was none on his clothes, there was none on his hands, unless he went and took a shower and got rid of those clothes. He was like someone else said, he was too clean when he was sitting in that car that night with the two agents and his attorney, and he did that interview that we watched the other night, or questioning, interrogation, whatever it is you want to call it. He was too clean. Okay. Let me see what my daughter said, y'all. Okay. Dude is a lawyer. He knows what to say. Blood spatter were detected on his shirt. It is said, but needs confirmation. Yeah, but Sima, was it on the shirt that he had on in the vehicle that he did the interview in, like later on that night? And Fern, you're very welcome. Because that's what's weird. Like, that shirt was completely clean. Okay. I don't know. It's this whole situation. This is just one of those crazy cases. And with him being an attorney. Oh, dear Jesus, that was loud. With him being an attorney, Like, it seems like he would know the things that he needed to do, the things that he needed to say to try to get himself out of it. And that is true, honey. He was not sweaty. And that was in June. And in the South, in June, it's very hot. So it literally looks like he wouldn't put on clean clothes and cleaned himself up. Changed shoes and everything. And where he messed up is when he said that he touched them both, because they asked him in the interview, did you touch them? And he said, yes, he did. He touched both of them. And then he said that he tried to check their pulse and he tried to turn Paul over. Well, he should have had some type of evidence on him, and he didn't. And I think that's where he messed up at, is that he claims that he did that, but there's no blood or nothing on him. And the condition that Paul was in, I think he would have had more than just blood on him. Without being graphic, and if y'all have heard the situation that he was in, y'all would know what I'm talking about, but I think that he would have more than just blood on him. Okay, let me grab my next video, y'all. Okay. All right, and this one is just talking about the defense in the Murdoch trial will attempt to cast doubt on the evidence. Let me make sure this is the right one. Okay, yeah, it is. All right.
Court this morning and what has happened so far as this trial has gotten underway. Joining me now is Matt Harris. He is the co-host of Impact of Influence, the Murdoch Family Murders. Also, Mark Reichel, legal analyst, to you both this morning. Thank you for being here. As the jury takes a break, I want you both to weigh in as far as where things stand. And Matt, I'll start with you as you're watching the case unfold, both sides and their legal arguments. How is the jury responding to what has been laid out in court so far?
Well, it's hard to imagine what's going on their heads, but they are definitely paying close attention, and they're not flinching much when they're seeing the awful crime scene. They're paying attention to that. They didn't seem to be turned off by the nastiness that can be seen in those exhibits. I think that the big thing that has come up is the fact that Alec did not have blood on him, and yet he said he checked for the pulse of Maggie and Paul. And that's the one major thing that I think is jumping out right now.
Right. So, Mark, let's have you weigh in on that aspect of evidence, because it is being disputed whether or not there was blood spatter on Alec Murdaugh's shirt the night of the crime. He was sweaty that night. There have been some reports that it could have been raining. It will really be interesting to hear from the forensic expert, the blood stain expert, Tom Bevel, who analyzed that shirt the night of and in the weeks afterwards. What stands out to you about that critical piece of potential evidence?
Well, I think you're right on in murder cases like this, and I had one like this actually, is that we always say, look, science is way better than feelings. So you may have feelings about some of these things and feelings about what you think happened, but the science is going to dominate here. And actually, I think the defense has some decent points about the lack of blood splatter and so forth, because that's something that you just can't get away from. You can't explain away from just from strong feelings about the case. Additionally, if you talk about whether he has the blood on him based on checking the pulse, often what I think they should be doing is bringing in first responders who come in and have to admit that they've checked pulses, they've come to crime scenes and not got any blood on themselves. I think it's a significant matter. I'm not so sure the prosecution has really driven it home so far and is necessarily leading at this point.
Well, and the other thing that came out on Friday was the release of some of the video. So 33 minutes of video interviews that happened with Alec Murdoch just moments after he came up and found Maggie and Paul's bodies at the dog kennels. It was really interesting to watch it. There were a few moments where he gets emotional. Much of the rest of the video, he's very calm as he answers investigators' questions. Here is a part of that video. What stood out to you, Matt, as you listened to this account and this interview after what we now know the events of that night?
I think there would be some timeline issues where Alec was saying he was didn't talk to Maggie for 2 hours prior to him finding them at 10:06, and there is going to be this video released that was at 8:44, I believe. Yeah, 8:44 with Alec in that, so that would be less than 2 hours. But again, I think that the state or the defense is making a good point about you can't really hold him to this timeline because his wife is brutally murdered, his son is brutally murdered. He even loaded a shotgun with the wrong kinds of ammunition. And they're saying, well, that he knows better than that. So he wasn't in his right mind when he was giving these specific time frames. I wasn't at the dog kennels earlier in the day. I was at the dog kennels during the day. So those inconsistencies, I think the defense is going to be able to say, hey, listen, the guy was not right there. So you can't hold him to that.
Well, and Mark, I'm interested in your analysis. It sounds as though the prosecution is going to make the case that there is a Snapchat video from the night of the murders that shows within minutes of the murders happening, Alec Murdoch is there. There may be an audio recording of him. How damning is that for the defense potentially?
If they set up the first proposition, which is the timing and his statement, and if they can really prove that his statement that he was locked in on the timeline and then show that it's not true, they can, they're going to make you make a strong inference that it's lying. And if he's lying, why is he lying? Lying is consciousness of guilt. He knows his why. He's given a different timeline, different hour, and probably just for whatever reason didn't realize the Snapchat was going to do him in. Maybe didn't think he was going to make the statement later on that would be contradicted. But if they can line all that up and tie it up really well, I think it's a really powerful evidence for the prosecution.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below.
Okay, sorry about that, y'all. My daughter was on the phone. Never fails when I'm live, y'all, and she starts texting me. Okay, let me catch back up. Let's see. Order. Yeah, I've just missed all the chat. Okay. And real quick, is the membership link working? Because Troll is saying that he tried to go to it and it's not working for him. So I just want to see if anybody else is having issues with it. Okay, give me just a second. I can get all of this out of my way. Let's see. Let me see which. Here's the other one that I was wanting to play. This one. Okay, so Nora says I can click on it, but then it kicks me out of chat. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with it. Okay, it's still working for Crime Crazy, but she hasn't updated. So it must be something to do with YouTube's update. Okay, so wait, What Up Babies is not working. She needs to update. I don't know what's wrong with it. This is crazy. Charles saying that it's not, when he clicks on it, it's not working. Okay, thank you, Jen. And And I even went on my phone and to the chat and clicked on the little money sign at the bottom of the chat where you're typing. And it's not, it won't work there either. I don't know what's wrong with it. YouTube, I guess, is I guess their update or something like that. I don't know. It's just crazy. But Nora, how are you? And thank you for joining us. Okay, so they're saying that Alex Murdaugh's behavior may sway the jurors, you know, where he's sitting there and he's crying and he's rocking back and forth and he's wiping his face and he's cutting his eyes over at the jury to see if, you know, they're watching him. So they're thinking that maybe his behavior may sway them. Let me get that pulled up. And Nora, you're very welcome, honey. And if I've missed anyone else's comments, I do apologize. While that other video was playing, my daughter was on the phone, so. Okay. Crash in the settlements. And that was, Marissa, did you notice that every time like he would start talking to someone, that's what he always talked about was a boat crash? Like he was trying to put it off that this happened to Paul and Maggie because of the boat crash, like retaliation or something like that. Okay, so I'm gonna play this one for y'all.
Tangible that the jury can see, they can look at, and then you've got the human element. And released on Friday were the videos of the interview done by investigators that night of Alec Murdoch inside a car right next to where the bodies were found. I want to play for folks at home just a portion of that, and then we can talk about how the jury perceives some of Alec's responses to the questioning that night. Let's listen.
I mean, I pulled up and I could see him, and, you know, I knew something was bad. I ran out. I knew it was really bad. My boy over there, I could see it was.
And this is one of the moments, one of the few moments in the 33-minute video that Alec Murdoch gets upset. But that is a response most people would have. They would be in hysterics. They would be upset. Jonna, I'll start with you on this one. How does the jury perceive what they're seeing, not only in this video as they watched it play out, but his emotional outbursts in court as he listens to some of the evidence?
In my opinion, he comes across as very credible, both when he's having emotion at the defense table and when he was having emotion in this interrogation. And the thing we have to remember is this might be the only time the jury gets to actually hear and see Alec Murdoch. He might not take the stand. In fact, if I were a betting woman, I'd say right now, he probably won't because he doesn't have to. So it's very important for the jury to kind of key in on that, assess his credibility as somebody who's genuinely upset that his family just got blown away. And if he's not the culprit, is this a sort of quote unquote normal response? In my opinion, it does come across as somebody who is genuinely heartbroken and perhaps not responsible for these heinous acts.
Tracy, what stood out to you listening to that interview, and maybe more importantly, from your background, some of the questioning that he was receiving as they're trying to get information that night?
So I actually do not find him very credible, to be completely honest with you. So sorry to disagree. But when I actually am watching him during the trial, quite frankly, really a lot of what he's doing seems quite forced. He seems annoyed. He seems angry at some points, which I actually think show potential in terms of behaviors, right, that he can have. I think in terms of in the vehicle, when he's being questioned, kind of that up and down, he became very cool, calm, and collected, and then sort of broke down. It's just very surprising to me that his behavior is turned on and off actually quite quickly. And I find that to be a bit suspect.
In the gallery in court, you have seen multiple times Buster Murdoch, Alec Murdaugh's only surviving son. You've seen both of his brothers in court, his sister. On the possible list of witnesses that could be called, you have several members of Maggie Murdoch's family. What stands out to you about who's in court, Jonna, and who may be called to the stand as a character witness to try to say Alec Murdoch is an upstanding citizen, great father, great husband. He didn't do this, and here's why.
I think right now there's a big question as to which side of this Buster Murdoch is going to fall on. And I am surprised to see him in the courtroom because he is on the witness list. And ordinarily, if you are going to be called as a witness, you are not permitted in a courtroom until after your testimony with good reason. Now, perhaps in South Carolina, they're making some exception, or maybe the defense is allowing it themselves. I'm not entirely sure. But I believe outside of court, Buster has come out and said, I don't want it written anywhere that I am supporting my father, which is odd. Also something the jury should not be privy to. So I guess it's going to be a waiting game as to whether he's actually going to take the stand and what he's going to say.
That's interesting. All right, we're going to leave it there to you both. Thank you, Jonna Spilborg, criminal defense attorney and legal analyst, Tracy Walder, former CIA officer and FBI special agent. Really interesting day 3 as the jury listens to this case. Thank you both, as always. Thank you for watching. Go to
Okay. Let me see. I'm just trying to check one thing because a minute ago I was on my phone, accidentally hit my screen, and thought that I had unmodded one of my mods. And Nora, hopefully they will get everything situated here soon. YouTube. Like, little baby, I thought that I had unwrenched Crumb Crazy. That's why I was wanting her to say something so I can make sure I didn't. Well, I didn't mean to. It just, you know how like if you accidentally hit the screen and the box will pop up, and it said to remove a mod or something. I kept hitting back trying to make it just go away, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't do it. I do the petting. Yeah, I know you do. I'm crazy. I just wanted to make sure. That's why I'd asked you to say something in chat, because if I would have, I would have just give it right back to you, because obviously I didn't mean to do it. But YouTube is just, I don't know what's up with YouTube here lately. It's been acting crazy. Let me see what this is that I have in here. I have this other article here real quick. So I'm only going to be on here about 10 more minutes. Okay, I haven't heard the jail conversations yet. Candy, the only jail conversations that I've heard there was a conversation between Alec and Buster. And it was just, Alec had talked to him, asked him if he had been gambling. Buster said, yeah, but then people were criticizing him, saying that he wasn't spending the money right, and like he was wasting his money and stuff like that. That's the only one I've heard. Okay, if I lose my wrench, I want a jackhammer next time. Oh, Crumb Crazy, if I could give you a jackhammer, I would. Okay, give me just a second, y'all. Hey, GOP Nick, how are you? Oh, Sandra, thank you very much, honey. We love you for being here with us. Thank everybody, for coming and hanging out with us every night. You guys are awesome. Heard one where he complained about the food. Oh, I didn't hear that one, Miss Honey Penny. Candy, Buster, yes, is his oldest son. His name is I don't know if it's Richard Alexander, just like Alex is, but his first name is Richard. Proud Aussie, how are you? Oh, thank you, Nora. Okay, there's a whole bunch of general conversations on podcasts. Just looked up the name, YouTube, over 75 of them. Okay, I meant the dad. Oh, Candy, yeah, his actual given name is Richard Alexander Murdoch. He calls himself or pronounces the Alec name as Ellick, like Ellick. A lot of other people pronounce it Alec with a C on the end of it, or like Alek, instead of Alex with an X. And then his last name, everybody pronounces it Murdoch, like Murdock, even though it's spelled Murdaugh. A lot of people get confused about the name. I mean, I would have thought with Ellick, it would have been Ellick, and that's how he pronounces it. But it's actually, his middle name is actually Alexander. Okay, Paul's truck was broken down by the side of the road in another county, another crime scene. Okay, so Penny, what I heard about that, and I believe they talked about this in court Thursday of last week, I believe. Paul had switched trucks with his uncle. His uncle was using Paul's truck to take Alec and them's dad to the doctor or to the hospital. So Paul was driving his uncle's truck. The uncle was driving Paul's truck. When the uncle got the word that they had been murdered, because Alec had, called his brothers, the brother was rushing over there and the truck broke down. And like I said, I believe that was mentioned in, I think it was Thursday is when that was mentioned. I think I would hate to have a name buster. Candy, I think a lot of people, they said in South Carolina, that was a common name. Okay, Alec Baldwin is the only Alec I've ever heard with that name before. Yeah, his is actually spelled Alec. Because in the very beginning, I kept wondering, like, why are they calling him Alec if his name is spelled Alex and his middle name is Alexander? Unless, I don't know, unless that's how he's just, maybe his the southern accent, it's just, that's how he pronounces it. Okay, a tire that don't go flat, why would you pull over? Scott, you're talking about when the guy pulled up and shot Alec? I don't know. The whole thing was, that whole thing with him getting shot and all that, yeah, that he actually hired that guy to do that to him. Okay, Alec should have just changed his name to Alec. Yeah, I know the Krista. Hey, like now Kylie was pronounced Kylie, and in the UK it's two different names. Yeah, his name is super confusing, especially with his middle name being Alexander. And some people, like, I think I just did it when I said it, I pronounce it Alexander, so and it sounds like Alec, so maybe that's the reason why he says his name is Alec. Let's see, we say Keely for Kylie. Okay. I know Kylie can be spelled several different ways here. Maybe the Baldwins have British connections. I'm going on about frivolous things. Maybe he's just a pretentious bastard that wants to pretend his name is fancy. I don't know, Lumberman. He was very privileged growing up, so maybe that's what he thinks. I think GOP Nick is in the UK, isn't that right? If I remember correctly. All right. Give me just a second. Okay. Okay. I thought GOP Nick, that's where you were from. Okay. Let's see. I'm just catching up real quick, y'all, before I have to end it here. Okay. So Nora wants to know, how do you guys feel about his guilt? I think that either he did it himself or he hired someone to do it. And I'm only thinking maybe he might have hired someone to do it because he ended up hiring the guy to try to shoot him and unalive him. I think he's guilty. It's just whether he did it his own self or if he hired it done. And I think if he did it his own self, I think that he did it before he left and went to his mom's. And he took the guns with him and he did something with them. Whether he passed them off to someone else or he got rid of them somehow or whatever. But I do think that he is guilty. And I think it may have to do with, the boat crash. Let's see, I think he's guilty, but I don't think he has guilt for. Okay, so yeah, I get what you're saying, B. You're saying like he's guilty of, like he did it, he's guilty, but he doesn't feel like he's guilty, or he doesn't. He has no remorse or anything like that for what he's done. But I think it might have had something to do with the boat crash. I think that a lot of because they did say that he wanted the sympathy, and that was one reason why people were thinking he might have done it. He wanted the sympathy from the community because his financial issues were about to be uncovered, and I think he thought that he could use the boat crash as a reason why it happened to him. Maybe they were, he could easily say that he could have, like they were after Paul and Maggie was just there and it was, she was at the wrong place at the wrong time. But, maybe the target was Paul. I fully think that was what he was going to try to use, because that's the very first thing that he said when he was talking to the cops. Is he says it's a long story, but he was involved in a boat accident and blah blah blah, and the girl got killed. And I just think that it was all of his financial issues were about to be put on blast. And for whatever reason in his head, he thought he was going to get sympathy, which in most cases would have happened. A father whose wife and son were murdered. But then a lot of people already knew his issues because he was just fired let go from the firm that he was working at the day before the murders. Okay, I was thinking the boat crash too. I'm sure they were going to sue Paul, but now that he's dead, they won't be. Yeah, and I want to say that the house, like the estate there where the murders happened, I would have thought that to begin with, maybe Buster would have got it, or they would have sold it and Buster would have got some of the money. But I do believe that it's supposed to be sold and it's supposed to be given to Mallory, which is the younger girl, the 19-year-old girl who was murdered in the boat crash. And then the other kids who were hurt, I think there was like 4 other kids that was hurt. So I do believe that it was supposed to be sold and they would get the money. And then he even agreed, the housekeeper that died at his house, he agreed to pay the $4.3 million to her family. And now I don't know how he's going to pay that unless he's got other property that he's going to sell. Because I don't know how much 1,700 acres in South Carolina would bring. Especially with a nice big house like they had. I mean, he may, I'm assuming several $1 million, but I don't know if it would be enough to pay Mallory's family, the other kids, for their injuries, and then the 4.3 to the maid's family. Dicka's goal was to kill his wife, but had to kill Paul because he ended up being a witness. Well, they said that Paul was killed first. And I think that he used 2 different guns to make it look like 2 different people. And where the 2 guns come in, he very well could have did it himself with 2 different guns. It could have been 2 people. It could have been him and somebody else with the 2 different guns. Or he could have hired somebody else to do it with 2 different guns, but it would, but I think the 2 different guns come into play to try to make it like it was 2 different people. Okay, mass shooters often bring multiple guns. Paul couldn't protect Maggie. Let's see. Well, he admitted he had over. Yeah, Candy, there's actually body cam footage that I played earlier in the video, and it's also on my Twitter, that Bryan Inton put out on Twitter today. And they are at his house, the agents are, and it's the body cam footage of his gun room. And there is probably 25 to 30 guns in there. There's a lot. There's actually some on the wall in the gun cabinet, and then there's some on the pool table. Can you give me a redacted bullet point rundown of the crime? Yes, GOP Nick. Okay, so 2018, they had a maid who had been working 25 years for them, was the maid and the nanny. She ended up, they're claiming that a dog reared up on her, knocked her down some stairs. She ended up dying. He told her kids to sue him. Hey, Running Bear, how are you? He told her family to sue his insurance because he was responsible. He would help them get the insurance claim off of it. Well, somehow he ended up pocketing the money. 2019, his youngest son, which was the son who was murdered, Paul, him and some friends of his were in a boat. They were, it was night. They had been drinking. They say that whenever Paul drinks, he becomes a different person. It's almost like an alter ego type thing. And it was dark, and he ended up hitting the bridge pilings, and it threw the boat up on the bank of the river. And one of the girls was thrown out and she was killed. They found her in the marsh about a week later. He's also had several other different financial things. He's got 99 other charges, like finance charges on him, financial charges that he's got to go to court for. Money laundering and all these different things. June of 2021, his wife and his son, like, they have a 1,700 acre estate. It's like a hunting lodge and a main house on the property. And the wife and son were up at their dog kennels. They had hunting dogs. And he claims that Maggie was supposed to go with him that night to his mama's house because his mama has Alzheimer's. He says around 9:06 that he tries to text Maggie and call Maggie, and she doesn't answer. So he knew that they were at the dog kennels, which was, I think they said, roughly 1,000 yards from the house. It's all on the same property though. So instead of him driving up to where the kennels were before he left to go to his mama's, he just left the house and went out a different driveway and went to his mama's. Exactly an hour later at 10:06, he claims that he's calling 911 saying someone has shot his wife and son. A few minutes before that, he says he goes back to the house. They're not there, so that's when he drives up to the kennels and finds them. He was an opioid user for 10 years, maybe a few years longer than that. He ends up going, he loses his job at the firm. He loses his bar license. He goes to rehab in Florida. They end up arresting him in Florida at the rehab. He is now charged with the 2 counts of murder for Maggie and Paul. And that's what he's in court for right now. I'm trying to think if I've missed anything else. And he claims the night that he found them also that he bent down and checked their pulse. But he had no blood anywhere on him. He had no blood on his hands. He had no DNA on his hands. There was no blood or nothing on his clothes. There was no blood on his shoes. Yes, Slumlord Man, his life fell apart. Some speculate that he wouldn't change clothes before he called the police. His family was very prominent in that area since like 1920. His great-grandfather, grandfather, and all them, they held the solicitor position in that district. They were the DA for the district. His grandfather had his picture of his grandfather was hanging in the courtroom. They said that Alec was a volunteer district attorney along with his grandfather. They ended up, I still don't know why they took the picture of his grandfather down out of the courtroom. I mean, he basically disgraced his family. He ruined the Murdoch name in that area. I would have said leave his grandfather's picture up there where he has to look at it to see what he did to his family's name. Do you think Alec is secretly... Yeah, I don't think so, Lawnmower Man. I think his thing was more stealing money than murdering people. I think he just felt that for whatever reason, financially, maybe he thought he had to get rid of them. In the long run, like he has nothing. His son's not going to have anything either. Okay, and let's see. And they think he covered for Buster killing. Yeah, they also think that the Stephen Smith boy, which died in 2015, he was driving his car down the road. His car runs out of gas. His body was found 3 miles from the road, or from the car. He was found in the middle of the road, and the autopsy said that he died from blunt force trauma as a result of a hit and run accident. But his mama thought that he had been murdered and thought that maybe the Murdochs had something to do with it, because there was rumors put out that the Stephen Smith boy and Buster had a relationship, like a secret relationship. And that's what, his mama know that that Stephen Smith had been the victim of a hit and run. So his mama always thought that he was murdered. And when they found him in the middle of the road, Alec and his brother actually went to the scene. And instead of, like normal people, you would just go to the crime scene tape and you wouldn't cross it or whatever. Alec and his brother just walked up, raised the crime scene tape up, and went on into the crime scene or where this boy was at. And the boy's mama thought that was weird. Nora, thank you so much for becoming a member and welcome to the family. And I'm glad that it worked. Hey, Jim J, how are you? So, yeah, the Stephen Smith boy, his mama had always thought that, it was more to it than just a hit and run accident. So, when Maggie and Paul were murdered, then for whatever reason, SLED went back in and went to looking back at Stephen Smith's case, but they never said what the reason was that they went back looking at it. So I don't know if it has something to do with maybe they thought the Murdochs did have something to do with it, because here now is Paul and his mama. have been murdered or what their reason was, but they never said the reason why they went back looking at it. I know that some of them said that they didn't agree with the autopsy. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. Jim J, I'm doing good. Okay. I think taking the pick down was not to sway the jury to thinking the family is good, therefore Alex is good and not guilty. That could be it, Jen. I don't know. I would have left it right there where he could see it, where he's reminded the whole time he's in court that he is actually, like, he's not there representing a client, that he is actually there as a defendant in a murder trial. Like, he is on trial for murdering his son and his wife. And he's known now as a disgraced attorney in that area, and he has ruined the Murdoch name. He's basically disgraced the Murdoch name. And Nora, you are very welcome. So, all right, y'all. I think I'm just going to get off of here. I got a few things that I need to do, and then I got to go to bed early because I got to get up early. So he's guilty, like he's given himself, or he had someone to do it for him. Wolfpack, I can't, like, I know he's guilty, or I don't know. In my opinion, I think he's guilty. I just can't decide, like, if he did it his own self, or he did it with someone else, or he had someone else to do it. Running Bear, you're fine. I think it's, I don't know, maybe he had someone else to do it, and that's the reason why his clothes were clean. I don't know. Hopefully in court is supposed to go, they're claiming till like February the 10th. And so hopefully during these next few weeks that we will figure out what happened, or they'll figure out what happened or prove what happened. Because the prosecution is claiming that they can prove that he was there because his phone says that he was there. And Paul had did that, the Snapchat video of the dog for his friend. And in the video, people are saying that you can hear Maggie and Alec in the background talking. Like they're talking about a chicken or something. I don't know if the dog got a hold of a chicken or whatever, but they're talking about a chicken in the background. And B, you have a good night. And thank you, Marissa. Okay, so I'm fixing to get out of here. I will be back tomorrow night at my usual time. So I just want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with me tonight. Carrie, you're welcome, and thank you. I love you all. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I will see you all tomorrow.